Welcome back, everybody. And fuck, I'm not good. I'm still not good at intros. I've been doing this for a little bit outside of this channel, but damn, I'm bad at intros. I'm Red, and welcome back to another one of my little talking points. I don't want to say review, because review would mean I'm giving this a rating out of whatever, but I wouldn't say I'm gonna rate this one, because this is just an overall. I'm too like little in to be able to call this a review. But today we're going to be looking over Volume 1 of the comic series Saga by Brian K. Vaughan and Fiona Staples. Now, those names mean absolutely nothing to me, but if anybody's listening to this who's a fan of any of their previous works, leave them in the comments. I'm really just looking forward to getting more into this series, because I'll admit, if something doesn't hook you on like the first 1, 2, or 3 volumes, then I really don't see a ton of reason to like go for it. But this is a series that has a lot of charm. Like, there's just really good characters in this. Well, let me just go over some of the highlights of it. In Volume 1 alone, I wouldn't consider any of this spoilers, because, like I said, this is Volume 1, and I know this is a pretty lengthy series. Because, you know, the omnibus for it is 1,000 pages long, and this is really just one that's, I think, barely breaks 150. But Saga itself starts out with the main girl and guy who are married, Lana and Marco, and they have a little girl. Like, very first 2-3 pages, she gets born, and Nick is pretty explicit. Like, they don't show like the crowning of the whole thing, but damn, there are some details in this I was aware of, but I really didn't need to be told in full detail. After they give birth, or she gives birth, he's there trying his best. And you start to see like some of the interactions between the two, and damn, I really like these two. You know, I know it's kind of played out, the hard ass female character of the group, but I can't really even say she's like a stereotype for these, like, oh, she's just playing off the hard ass of the group. She really doesn't. She's kind of like the character that used to be a dick, but is like trying their hardest not to be, but is also a mom now. So there's a lot of like tenderness they're trying to give off. But it's okay. The reason that they're together is that they met in the middle of a war between both of their two factions. Marco, the man in the relationship, he is the dude. He's from the moon of this system, and she's from the planet in it, and they're both at war because she has wings, he has horns. People have gone to war and hated each other over a lot less. Living in America means you learn about the Civil War a lot, and damn, old people are stupid. Yeah, you want to hear that from somebody my age. But, yeah. They're both going to war, and they end up meeting each other and realizing, hey, war sucks a whole ass, and we both like each other. Let's get out of here, because this ain't fun. They run off, they get married, and they end up having a kid. And later in the whole thing, it's revealed her name is Hazel, and it's adorable. There's just something about it where there's just chemistry that works really well in this series, and I can't really say a lot about it. I mean, like I said, only 1 volume, but I did take a 10-minute video just talking about, 15 pages of a comic made by Moist Critical, so I think I can talk a little bit about this. There's a lot of threads going on in here. Like, there's a story with them as they give birth, and they end up getting a map from the person that they had like paid off to stay there, and they end up bolting and trying to find the best place to go. But they're also being hunted by both sides of their factions, who both despise the the opposing recipient. Like, the guy's race hates the girl, and the girl's race hates the guy, and it's pretty stock standard. They always have like this. They have like these weird little slurs for each other. Like, the guy is from the moon of the planet, so every chance they get, they refer to them as Moonies. And I know that doesn't sound like it's supposed to be a slur, but it always comes off in my mind. That's like hearing split lip from the Halo community. Like, that seems a little too, like, blunt to not be a slur. But, yeah, both of them are together, and they're on the run. They're also, not only are they being hunted by them, by each part of their army, they're being hunted by these two bounty hunters. One of them is called The Will. I guess that's how bounty hunters work like that. They just refer to them as the something. There's The Will, who's just a normal dude with a oversized, wrinkly cat. I forget what those hairless ones are called. The Sphinx. Sphinx cats. And it can tell if people are lying. And he finds out about this, and he says, well, this is stupid. I'm going to go spend this corporate credit card you gave me on blackjack and hookers. And he goes off to a place where he does exactly that. And then the other person hunting them down is known as the Stalk, who is a terrifying spider girl. Like, damn. I'm not a fan of insects, but damn. And she ends up finding them pretty quickly and injures Marco in the process. But while they're in like the middle of these woods, it's established that not only is this sci-fi, but there's magic elements to it. And she ends up hearing stuff going on in the woods and is like, oh shit, those might be the horrors. You guys are gonna die. And if you survive long enough in the torturing process of this, then maybe I'll be able to get away. And she ends up bolting out of the area. When it's revealed that the horrors that are in the place that the Stalk was afraid of were just the quote-unquote protectors. They're essentially just ghosts that are bound to the planet. It's a weird series. Like, this is a lot of suspension of disbelief, but it's pretty easy. And they end up saying like, hey, we can help you guys out because your husband doesn't look like he's doing so well. I can tell you where to go to get what you need to fix him up. And they end up going off on their whole little quest. All this time, while the Will is up with blackjack and hookers, he ends up like looking around through all the different areas. This is a very progressive like comic overall, because when it shows like all the different people like getting it on, it's a pretty diverse cast. And I don't know why seeing that sort of thing in comics is pretty easy to do nowadays. But even though I have a huge collection, a lot of it's not from like this generation, so, or at least not from like the past 5 years. So still, it's hard to find. But while he's out there, he ends up like asking, hey, is there anything like a little bit like meaner, grittier that I can find? He's like, oh, I know and somebody who he's been talking to this whole time says, oh, I know what you mean. And he ends up going down into an area, and he finds, he's like, you can have this one, come on in. And a girl steps out, but she's 6 years old. And then Will immediately looks over at the guy and says, that's fucked up. And then he crushes his head, Omni-Man style. And essentially said, like, all right, she's coming with me. And as they're, like, going up the area, as they're, like, going back towards the ship to save him, the woman who's in charge of all those people says, little girl's coming with me. And if you want her, you have to buy her. And you think it's going to be like, oh, he's just going to pull out his gun, shoot her, and then immediately, like, ride off into the sunset. He doesn't. Which is, that was a punch to the gut for me, because I was expecting, like, wow. That's dark. He still, like, he calls up Spider-Girl, the Stalk, and says, hey, please lend me as much money as you can. I need to get this girl out of here. But as she does, she picks up her phone and is found by another character that's in this. Robot the Fourth. I'm just going to call him Computer Prince because that's what he is. You find him pretty early on, and you find a lot of him pretty early on. Like, you see everything. They are not shy about drawing it. You see computer dick and balls. It is all out, and wow. Oh, like the introduction of him is him and his wife doing it immediately, and it's just the computer on the head. Like, it's the robot dude from Fully Cooley, from the neck up, and everything down is just like a alabaster white human. And him and his wife are doing it. He ends up getting sent off and starts learning about all the stuff going down as he's trying to like figure out who these renegade soldiers are, the main characters, Lana and Marco. And he ends up finding them, or he ends up like getting on their tail and figuring out where they are, because he was told that his wife is now pregnant while he was on this mission. But he also finds out that that he can't come home until his mission is done, because royal families are assholes, and apparently that's just a rule. So he does what he does. He starts going off a little bit tougher and a little bit harder because he wants to see the birth of his kid. And he immediately finds the stock and is like, "Who are you? What are you doing? Don't worry, I'm a freelancer." "Oh, really? Show me some ID." And as soon as she like pulls her phone up to say, "I'm gonna hang up," his hand turns into a gun because it can do that, and he shoots her right there. And the Will, the entire time on the other side of the line, says, "That was my friend. I loved her, and I needed her. I'm the last voice you're ever going to hear." And I really want to buy the next volume because there's a lot there. I left out a lot of stuff. I know this is only like 12 minutes long, but I left out a lot of stuff, and this is a really good series so far. Like, I know first volumes are like first impressions, and this one had a pretty strong one. Like, I liked this series. Damn. There's potential here, and I really want to see all of it. But until next time, I've ran this a little bit long. I'm Red. Welcome to the community if this is your first time showing up, and if you don't want to be around here anymore, it's completely fine. Thank y'all for being here, and I'll catch you next time.